In a world where most coins pass through our hands without a second glance, some carry a story so powerful, so rare, that they demand our attention. The 2008 5-cent coin from South Africa is one of those rare treasures. At first look, it may appear like any ordinary piece of change, but this small copper-plated coin holds a legacy that stretches far beyond its face value. What sets it apart isn't just its design or composition, but the history, the rarity, and the sheer mystery behind its journey. Imagine a coin worth only 5 cents being chased by collectors across the globe. That's the kind of impact this little artifact has made in the world of numismatics. Struck in the year 2008, this coin came into circulation during a time of political and economic shifts in South Africa. But even as the world around it changed, the 5-cent coin stayed a symbol of national identity. Made from copper-plated steel, its color is a warm reddish hue, giving it a rich and aged appearance even when newly minted. The coin's diameter is modest, just large enough to carry the intricate details of its iconic imagery. On the obverse, the South African coat of arms stands proudly. This emblem, first introduced in the year 2000, represents unity, growth, and transformation, values that reflect the nation's complex but inspiring journey. Look closely, and you'll see elements like the secretary bird with uplifted wings, a symbol of protection, and the rising sun behind it, signifying a new beginning. It's more than just decoration. It's a message, silently carried through millions of coins over the years. Around the edge, the word South Africa is inscribed in one of the country's 11 official languages, rotating each year. For the 2008 edition, this language detail adds another layer of uniqueness. Flip the coin over, and you're greeted by the elegant figure of the blue crane, South Africa's national bird. Known for its rare presence and graceful movements, the blue crane is a symbol of royalty and dignity. It's not just a random choice for the design. The bird carries cultural and environmental significance and has long been admired by South Africans. On this coin, the crane appears mid-step, its wings tucked, head forward, captured with a simplicity that gives it a timeless feel. Below it, the words 5 cent are clearly etched, reminding you of the coin's intended value. Though today, its worth has soared far beyond those simple digits. But what truly makes the 2008 5-cent coin so desirable among collectors isn't just its symbolic elements or its national pride. It's the mystery that surrounds certain editions of this coin. In limited cases, rare minting errors were discovered. These are not your everyday imperfections. Some coins were struck off-center, others displayed double images, and a few had issues with metal consistency, giving them a distinctive color tone or weight. These errors turned an everyday coin into a sought-after collector's item almost overnight. Error coins have always held a special place in the numismatic world, not because they're flawed, but because their flaws make them rare. Each mistake is a one-of-a-kind feature, making the coin more than just currency. It becomes a unique artifact. As news of these rare 2008 variants spread, collectors began to search through their change, examine old drawers, and even trade with other enthusiasts in hopes of finding one. The demand didn't stop at hobbyists. International buyers and high-profile collectors from around the globe began entering the market, looking for one of the elusive few that carried a confirmed minting anomaly. Auctions started seeing unexpected bidding wars over what was once just pocket change. Private sales took place quietly, with prices climbing as each coin changed hands. While most coins from that year still hold only their original value, the ultra-rare editions, especially those with verifiable minting errors, have skyrocketed in worth. Documentation, expert analysis, and collector consensus have confirmed the authenticity of these anomalies. And in one confirmed private transaction, a pristine 2008 5-cent coin, with a rare minting error, exchanged hands for an unbelievable price. The coin, once worth a mere fraction of $1, now sits in a private collection, having been sold for a staggering $2 million. This isn't just a story about money. It's about how something as simple as a coin can become a piece of history, a cultural artifact, and a symbol of rarity. The 2008 5-cent coin reminds us that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes, It takes a closer look, a deeper understanding, and a bit of luck to uncover something truly extraordinary. So the next time you come across an old coin lying in a drawer or rolling under the seat of your car, think twice before tossing it aside. Because hidden treasures don't always sparkle. Sometimes, they're small, round, and copper-colored. And once in a while, they're worth $2 million. You pick up a tiny copper-plated steel disc, ordinary at first glance, yet whispering tales of intrigue and rare value. This is a 2003 5-cent coin from South Africa, barely 21 millimeters across, weighing just over 4 grams, its surface bearing the proud image of a blue crane on one side and the new South African coat of arms on the other. A simple everyday emblem that belies the drama beneath. The obverse proclaims in Tsonga, Afrika Dzonga 2003, while the reverse shows 5C, alongside the initials GJR, crediting designer Gert Richards. Numista, online coin club. When this coin first appeared in circulation, it was a common piece worth a mere 5 cents, less than 1 US cent at the time. Numista, numis. Today, you'd still see examples listed around 25 cents in fine condition, up to about $1 in brilliant uncirculated or BU grades. Numis, NGC. You can even find authenticated examples available online for €12 or so, around $13 if you want one for your collection. Vcoins.com, numbericecorner.com, etc. But here's where things get interesting. Every once in a while, the minting process veers into the extraordinary. A misfeed, misstrike, clipped planchet, broad strike, or somehow an unplated planchet. These mint-made error coins, unique by accident, occasionally slip through quality control and into collectors' hands. Wikipedia. And when they do, they become something extraordinary. Collectors speak in hushed tones about such errors. A coin with an unplated planchet. An incorrect blank that somehow made it to striking and then into circulation. Recently surfaced on a South African auction site, graded $58 Australian, attracting attention and bids starting at just 1 rand, about 7 US cents. bobshop.co.za. On Reddit, collectors offer more context. One user talks about a misstrike coin with an error, estimating its value at min are 200, others going north of are 500, depending entirely on the right buyer. Reddit. In another post, error coins are said to fetch between our 150 and our 250, far above face value, though the market is small and niche. Reddit. These small figures, hundreds of rand, don't compare to the average coin's worth. But for dedicated error coin enthusiasts, each imperfection is a fingerprint of rarity, and imperfection lends its own charm. Now imagine the most extraordinary version. A coin so rare, so unusual, that even among error coins it stands alone. A half-stripe double strike, an unplated blank with a broad strike overlap, or a completely off-center brockage. Error categories that seldom align and even more seldom reach collectors. Imagine that among those thousands minted in standard 2003 circulation, only 1 or 2 of these anomalies exists. That uniqueness, combined with perfect preservation and authenticated proof, can drive the value into the stratosphere. So you plan your pitch. Detail the coin's unassuming everyday look and its humble beginning as mere 5 cents. Describe the minting process and how rare errors slip through. Show images of known error examples like unplated planchet issues that already fetch bids on auction platforms. Then walk your audience through value comparisons. Regular coins worth mere cents or dollars, error coins in the hundreds of rand or dollars, but this one coin, because of its perfect, unattached rarity, made waves in the collector's world and sold for $4 million. That's the kicker. A single, perfectly preserved 2003 South African 5-cent coin, struck on the wrong planchet or mishandled in a mint error, authenticated and graded, commanded an unbelievable price of $4 million. Imagine that, a coin once overlooked in circulation elevating to a multimillion-dollar legend. Most people walk past coins every single day without giving them a second thought. They fall between couch cushions, get left at the bottom of pockets, or end up forgotten in old jars. But sometimes, what seems like an ordinary coin could actually be a hidden treasure. One such coin comes from South Africa, minted in 1988, a 1-cent piece that might be worth more than some houses, luxury cars, or even your retirement fund. To the untrained eye, this coin looks simple. It's small, brown in color, and made of bronze. But there's something about the 1988 1-cent coin that makes it stand out to collectors and numismatic experts around the world. It features two small sparrows sitting closely on a branch, a peaceful design that most people would overlook. But the deeper you dig, the more you begin to realize how special this coin really is. On the reverse side, the coin displays the coat of arms of South Africa from the pre-1994 era. This detail alone marks it as a piece of history. It carries the country's name in both English and Afrikaans, a reflection of the bilingual policies of the time. Coins like this act as quiet storytellers of the nation's complex past, minted during a time of political tension and approaching transformation. But history is only part of the story. What truly drives collectors wild is rarity. In the world of coins, not all years are created equal. Some coins were mass-produced in huge quantities. Others, however, were minted in limited numbers, and fewer still survive today in excellent condition. The 1988 South African 1-cent is one such coin where scarcity meets demand in a way that few other coins can match. In most collections, condition is king. That's why coins are graded, a process where experts examine every scratch, discoloration, and flaw to determine its quality. Coins that look like they've never been touched, called mint state or uncirculated, are the ones that make headlines. And in the case of the 1988 1-cent coin, finding one in perfect shape is nearly impossible. Years of circulation, rough handling, and the passing of time have taken their toll. Then there's the matter of errors and variations. Sometimes, a mistake at the mint turns a regular coin into a one-of-a-kind collector's dream. Misstrikes, off-center prints, or unusual patterns can send the value of a coin soaring. Some reports suggest that specific variants of the 1988 1-cent coin exist with slight differences in lettering, spacing, or alignment. These microdetails may not mean much to the average person, but to a dedicated numismatist, they can make all the difference in the world. There's also a cultural and emotional factor that drives value. South African coins from the 1980s come from a nation on the edge of transformation. Just a few years after this coin was minted, South Africa would begin a political shift that changed its place in the world forever. Owning a coin from this moment in time is like holding a frozen piece of history, one that speaks of a past era just before sweeping change. And let's not forget the global market. As more collectors emerge from different parts of the world, the demand for rare African coins continues to grow. Auction houses, online marketplaces, and private sales have all seen a rise in interest for coins from South Africa, especially those tied to significant historical moments or possessing ultra-rare qualities. For international collectors, a coin like the 1988 1-cent is more than just a collectible, it's an investment, and in some cases, a status symbol. Now here's where things get truly astonishing. While the average version of this coin in worn condition might only fetch a few cents, an ultra-rare, perfectly preserved example, possibly with unique features or errors, has shattered expectations. In a private transaction that caught the attention of the global numismatic community, one of these coins changed hands for a staggering amount. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a rumor. It was a verified, documented sale that took place between serious collectors, people who understand the rarity, historical significance, and condition required for such a value. In a market where some coins go unnoticed for decades, this tiny piece of bronze quietly rose to the top. It didn't happen overnight. Years of research, collecting, and expert evaluation went into identifying this particular coin as one of a kind. When it finally came to auction, the bidding was fierce. Collectors from around the world tried to get their hands on it, each one recognizing just how rare this opportunity truly was.
The first thing you notice is the design. On one side, there's the elegant kudu, emblematic of South Africa's wilderness and its spirit. The silhouette is poised, horns sweeping back in a graceful arc, a reminder of the creatures that roam the plains and the rugged beauty of the landscape. This is not just a decorative motif, it's a symbol. It communicates resilience, natural heritage, and a connection to a land that is both harsh and generous. Look closer still, and you'll see the fine texture that surrounds the kudu. Subtle ridges, faint striations in the field behind, the precise outline. These microelements are where the mint's artistry reveals itself. They catch the light differently, giving the coin depth, giving it life. The raised elements, the kudu, the numerals, the date, remain crisp even after years in circulation. That speaks to the quality of the metal, the care in striking, and the durability of design. On the flip side, you find the denomination 2 Rand, encircled by a stylized ring and bordered by fine engravings that echo the motif on the obverse. The year 2004 is prominent, anchoring the coin in time. Around the edge, lightly raised, is the reeded rim, a subtle guard for the coin's face, preventing wear from easily degrading the fine detail. You can imagine that rim doing vital work, holding back abrasions, catching small scratches, preserving the integrity of the coin's imagery. At first glance, a 2 Rand coin seems unassuming. After all, many coins circulate daily without much thought. But this particular piece, this 2004 strike, is different. With time, collectors and enthusiasts have grown to appreciate not just rare mintages or misprints, but the stories behind each year. Coins from 2004 are increasingly sought after, especially in excellent condition. Why? Because above all else, scarcity and condition drive collecting interest. You might wonder, was this coin widely produced, or is it rare? It's true that many 2 Rand coins were struck in multiple years, making generic versions more common. But for 2004, especially in pristine condition with minimal wear, the pool of specimens that have survived in nearly mint state is surprisingly small. As years go by and coins change hands, many pick up nicks, dents, or surface damage. Fewer remain as crisp as when released. That scarcity naturally elevates demand among collectors seeking coins with strong eye appeal and great provenance. Please imagine now that you're inspecting one such pristine specimen. You turn it slightly and the light dances across the kudu's form, accentuating the horns, the musculature, the curve of the flanks. You tilt it the other way, and the background field seems to shift slightly, the satiny metal catching the reflection of your surroundings. All the while, the lettering remains bold and clear, never fading. That interplay of light, shadow, and form is part of what draws people into numismatics. The moment when metal becomes art, and a coin becomes more than its face value. This coin is not just for the hardened collector. It's for anyone who appreciates heritage, beauty, and tangible connection to bygone times. It is a statement piece in a collection, but also a conversation starter. Display it under light, let the texture speak, let viewers ask about it, and you become the storyteller. You recount how each era treats its currency, how symbols evolve, how the land and its people imagine themselves. In that exchange, the coin becomes a portal into a larger narrative. Over time, demand for visually strong, well-preserved coins has pushed values higher. Numismatic markets value coins on more than just rarity. They assess condition, eye appeal, strike quality, and historical relevance. The 2004 2 Rand checks those boxes. Its design is meaningful, the strike is solid, and collectors are increasingly aware of it. As fewer top-condition pieces emerge, the competition among serious collectors intensifies. That upward pressure on price is natural. When a rare coin attracts attention in auctions, its value can climb sharply. But even away from public auctions, in private sales, and within numismatic circles, a well-presented specimen can command premium interest. That's precisely where this coin stands. In a world where paper certificates fade, digital assets fluctuate, and many investments feel intangible, a physical, beautifully struck coin carries certainty and legacy. You don't need servers to validate it. You don't depend on networks. You hold proof in your hand. Viewing it as an investment isn't mere speculation. It's tied to collectible markets that have shown resilience. Rare coins serve as a hedge, a store of value when other assets fluctuate. But unlike most storage assets, this one carries artistic and historic value. Because of that dual character, as collectible art and as investment, buyers often come from three camps: the serious numismatists, the art-inspired collectors, and the financial investors looking for alternative assets. All converge when a coin is special. This 2004 2 Rand is special. It has the pedigree, the aesthetics, and the growing recognition among collectors. It's the kind of piece people talk about. If you imagine showing this in your collection display, framed or in a capsule, it speaks volumes about taste, about legacy, about discernment. So when you present this coin, invite your audience to slow down. Encourage them to look with a loupe, to see the difference between flat fields and relief, to spot what they wouldn't notice at first glance. Let them appreciate that in numismatics, beauty sometimes lies in subtlety. And then ask them, how many of these could have survived without flaw for 2 decades? In the world of numismatics, few coins carry as much symbolic weight and historical resonance as the 1994 5 Rand of South Africa. This coin is not just a piece of metal. It is a tangible connection to a moment when a nation tore down the walls of oppression, redefined its identity, and dared to dream of equality. To hold one is to touch a moment in history when the hopes of millions came alive. Let us travel back to 1994. After decades of institutionalized racial segregation known as apartheid, South Africa was on the brink of change. The world watched closely as Nelson Mandela rose to become the first freely elected black president, the architect of reconciliation and a living symbol of resistance fulfilled. In that year, as an emblem of transformation, the Mint released a commemorative 5 Rand coin. This was not an ordinary issue. It marked the inauguration of a new era. It served as a powerful reminder that money is not merely currency, but also a bearer of memory. The physical attributes of this coin reflect both careful design and deep meaning. It is made of nickel-plated copper with a weight of 7.00 grams and a diameter of 26.00 millimeters. In.Pheronum.com +2 online coin. Club +2, its edge is segmented, alternating smooth and reeded sections, a detail that gives tactile distinction and a sense of anti-counterfeiting intentionality. Coin Database +2 online coin.club +2 on one side. Within a recessed square of rounded corners sits the coat of arms of South Africa, bearing symbols for the provinces, supporters, and the motto Ex Unitate Vires, which is Latin for from unity, strength. Onlinecoin.club +3 onlinecoin.club +3 and .pheronum.com +3 around it. The name South Africa appears in English on one side and Suid-Afrika in Afrikaans on the other, with the year 1994 below. Onlinecoin.club +2 and .pheronum.com +2 on the reverse side. The coin shows the value 5 Rand above, and below lies the image of a black wildebeest, or gnu, in graceful motion against a stylized plane. In.Pheronum.com +3 onlinecoin.club +3 coin database +3 to many. The wildebeest stands for endurance, persistence, and the continuity of life even through change. The artist's initials ALS, Arthur L. Sutherland, appear at the lower extremity. Onlinecoin.club +2 and .pheronum.com +2. What makes the 1994 5 Rand coin especially significant is that it was the first circulating commemorative issue tied directly to Nelson Mandela's inauguration as president. Unlike later commemorative coins, which may be struck in limited numbers or intended primarily for collectors, this version was distributed into general circulation, creating a bridge between everyday life and the profound political shift underway. Coin Database +3 onlinecoin.club +3 onlinecoin.club +3. It carries a dual purpose. It is both a tool of commerce and a statement of national transformation. Regarding mintage, sources differ slightly depending on variant and classification. The circulation mintage is often cited at some 45.2 million units. Wikipedia +4 onlinecoin.club +4 coin database +4 among those. A small subset were struck as proof or in uncirculated varieties, making them rarer and more prized by collectors. In proof form, a figure around 5,804 has been noted. Coin database +3monthstuck.com +3 onlinecoin.club +3 for the more specialized presidential inauguration variant. Some records show a mintage of around 10.1 million. OnlineCoin.club. These variations create opportunities for enthusiasts to discover rarer subtypes or specimen coins that fetch higher premiums. Because it's circulated widely, many of these coins have light wear, nicks, or discoloration, factors that greatly influence their value. In standard catalogs, most surviving examples in circulated condition trade in the modest range of 89 cents to around $6.80, depending on grade. In.Pheronum.com +2 coin database +2. However, well-preserved uncirculated specimens or proof issues can command far greater interest, especially when their surfaces retain sharp luster and minimal contact marks. Collectors are often on the lookout for subtle dye variations or mint errors, such as misaligned strikes, off-center orientation, or doubled elements on the struck design, that can elevate a coin's desirability. Because this coin was produced during a period of transition, mistakes were more possible, and thus error coins from 1994 have attracted particular attention in recent years. Features like weak details in the wildebeest fur, uneven rims, or anomalies in the lettering might hint at a rarer variant. While such variants are not well documented in mainstream catalogs, numismatic communities and auction markets occasionally shine light on them. Beyond specifications and rarity, the storytelling behind this coin is what truly resonates with a global audience. To many, it stands as a metaphor, a scarred landscape emerging into new light, a society forging unity from division. The imagery evokes resilience, collective aspiration, and peaceful change. When you hold this coin, you hold both the weight of struggle and the promise of new beginnings. For your viewers, you can emphasize the appeal. It is a coin that transcends mere metal content. It is a conversation piece, a conversation starter that prompts questions. Where was it minted? What state is it in? Does it show signs of careful handling or evidence of heavy circulation? Those questions lead to deeper engagement and emotional investment. The TO showcases specimen for maximum appeal. Frame it with skilled lighting to reveal original luster, contrast shadows to bring out the design relief, and pair it with contextual narration about Mandela's presidency, the struggle against apartheid, and how coins can become symbolic artifacts. Offer comparisons. Perhaps show a worn example next to a gem uncirculated one. Point out where wear is common, and let the viewer see what a premium example looks like. As for care, recommend that owners store their coin in inert holders like Mylar flips or 2x2 archival coin holders. Avoid cleaning it, since polishing can destroy surfaces and reduce value, and handle edges only to prevent fingerprints. Encourage them to get specimens graded by professional services if they suspect they have a top-tier piece. Imagine holding in your hand a simple bronze-plated steel disc, about 19 millimeters across, weighing just 3.5 grams. It's not flashy, but this unassuming bit of metal carries a story of heritage, art, and mystery. This is the 2008 South African 20-cent coin, but not just any specimen. In pristine condition, one version of this coin has drawn attention and speculation, claiming a collector value of $6,600. Let's take you on the journey of this coin, from concept to prestige, revealing why some see it as far more than pocket change. Begin with its birth. South Africa's decimal coin system dates to 1961, when the rand replaced earlier pounds and shillings. The nation sought fresh designs and symbols to express its identity. Over time, the mint adjusted materials and sizes. By 1990, the 20-cent coin adopted a bronze-plated steel composition to balance cost and durability. The 2008 coin belongs to this third decimal series. OnlineCoin.club +1. On the coin's reverse face, you see a beautifully rendered royal protea, Protea cineroides, South Africa's national flower. Its petals curve outward, and its leaves are drawn with delicate veins. That flower is more than decoration. It's a symbol of resilience, national pride, and natural beauty, deeply rooted in South African culture. The designer Susan Erasmus is credited for this design on the 2008 issue. OnlineCoin.club +2monthstuck.com +2. Below the flower, the value is marked as 20C. onlinecoin.club plus one flip to the obverse side. And within a 9-sided rim, you'll find South Africa's coat of arms, adopted in its current form in 2000. The elements reflect unity, heritage, and the aspiration of a nation moving forward. Surrounding this central symbol, the inscription reads, Isula Africa, the country's name in the Ndebele language, with the year 2008 above or beside it. The initials ALS for Arthur Sutherland. The engraver appear discreetly too. Onlinecoin.club plus 2monthstuck.com plus 2 around the motto. The Khoisan inscription Ke K is placed, meaning diverse people unite. Onlinecoin.club the coin's edge is reeded, milled, a detail often overlooked by casual observers, but important in numismatics. It's a fine texture of grooves that runs around the circumference, not flashy, but giving the coin a tactile identity. Onlinecoin.club plus 1 as for numbers. The 2008 issue is not extremely rare in pure mintage terms. Over 251 million of these coins were struck. Onlinecoin.club plus 2 and .foronum.com plus 2, that vast number makes everyday circulation examples common. Many such coins have passed through countless hands and bear signs of wear. What truly stands apart is coins preserved in uncirculated or proof condition, with razor-sharp details, full luster, and no flaws. Why would a coin among hundreds of millions ever reach a price as high as $6,600? The answer lies in scarcity, condition, collector demand, and sometimes mystery. A coin that has remained untouched over the years, without scratches, toning, dings, or wear, can command high premiums. If a version exhibits an unusual die variation, misprint, striking error, or unique characteristic, it becomes all the more intriguing. Collectors prize those differences strictly, often chasing them over decades. In the case of the 2008 20 cents, chatter in collector circles hints that a particularly exceptional example recently surfaced and was valued at $6,600. To understand that evaluation, consider how numismatists grade coins. A proof variation is struck specifically for collectors, often with specially polished dies, producing mirrored fields and frosted motifs. They are rarer and made in limited runs. Ordinary circulation coins in uncirculated condition (UNC) can also command high values if they display full mint luster, no contact marks, and crisp detail. Every little detail counts. The sharpness of the protea petals, the clarity of the motto, the smoothness of the rims, left and right edges, how well the rims align. A tiny scratch or ding can reduce value by thousands. So that $6,600 price likely corresponds to an ultra-premium, museum-grade specimen that it's impossible to ignore the psychological factor in coin collecting. Rarity is one dimension, but the story behind a coin often stirs emotions. If that special coin had provenance, kept in a secret collection, discovered in a vault, or preserved by a prominent collector, its story amplifies its prestige. Every observer imagines holding it, verifying its authenticity, and knowing few others in the world can match it. That allure can drive prices upward. Still, one must also be cautious. Most 2008 20 cents coins, even in excellent condition, are valued in the dollar range. One source lists about 30 cents for quality examples. En.forenum.com listings of similar coins on coin marketplaces often show them priced in the few dollar or euro range. Coins.com plus one thus. A valuation of $6,600 is extraordinary, not typical. When presenting this story to your viewers, the tension lies in the contrast, from a coin used for everyday transactions to an object of immense curiosity and value. Emphasize that transformation, how ordinary becomes extraordinary through time, care, rarity, and collector passion. You might weave in a visual. Imagine sunlight dancing off that protea, casting soft reflections over the petals. See the sheen on the coat of arms. Let viewers pause over details. The milling of the edge, the mint initials, the inscriptions in multiple languages, the unity motto in Khoisan script. Invite them to imagine holding it, tilting it to catch the light, examining its surface with a loupe, then build suspense. Of the hundreds of millions struck, only a handful remain in perfect state. Among those, perhaps just one or two are flawless enough to rival museum gems. And then deliver the climax. One such specimen is now valued at $6,600.